to the Crypto Saving Expert News Show, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess, and today we are taking a look at the markets. Bitcoin has seen a little bit of a move to the downside, so let's check that out. We're looking at the Crypto Saving Expert website. You can see Bitcoin is sat at $21,866 and Ethereum is sat at $1,550. Every time I say that, I feel like I'm a horse commentator on the races. Let's take a look at the charts and see what is happening. Thank you to Kino Casino in the chat saying that it's keep up the good work. Thank you to everybody who joins these daily live streams, and please don't forget to like these streams and subscribe, press the bell notification button and share them along to your friends to help us try and grow the channel as much as possible. Let's zoom a little bit out so we can see what's happening here on the bigger time frames. So looking at this 4-hour chart, those who tuned in yesterday know that I was not feeling particularly confident about the markets yesterday, and exactly as we expected, we did see that move to the downside. So let's draw these levels back on. We tested this level of support, and we also were looking at a previous level of support acting as a resistance. So we were trapped within these levels during yesterday's live stream, and then unfortunately we have now broken down below those. I was taking some profits at this high over here, so now I'm starting to reaccumulate down here. As I always say, I dollar cost average in and dollar cost average out. That is what I have found to be the most profitable trading strategy for me. I like to remove all of my fear and all of my FOMO from my trading as much as possible, and for me, the way I found to do that is to have money on the side. So if the price goes down, I feel happy that I can buy in, and to have money in the markets. If the price goes up, I can feel happy that I've made some profits. So that is how I try and balance my emotions and be as profitable as possible. We are now seeing Bitcoin down at these lower levels on the 1-hour chart, or even better on the half-hour chart. You can see clearly we do have this range of prices we are looking at right now. If anything, they're not actually exactly parallel. Let's draw those again. They are slightly slanted lines here. You can see we have that level of resistance here, and we also have this level of support here. Now we've bounced both at least twice. We're looking at a level of support down at $21,750. We're looking at a level of resistance up at $21,908. Now I would say this is more likely to drop to the downside. That's not saying 100% it will happen. It's just there's a higher probability that it will. But that is what we are looking at right now. We already have a CME gap down at $20,000 on the price of Bitcoin, but we also have one up at $28,000. And as I keep saying, Bitcoin takes the path of most pain. If loads of people jump back into their short positions right now, which could happen because everybody is still in bear market mentality, we could then see Bitcoin start to liquidate those and move to the upside. So we just have to be careful, take all emotions out of our decisions, and just look at exactly what is happening on the charts. I'm personally waiting for any breakouts before I decide what to do with my portfolio and how to react to the movement of the markets. I'm not just jumping in and out with no clear direction. I'm waiting to see what breakout we are having, and then I'm making my choices based off the facts, because right now we are in a point right now where the markets are completely divided into two, and some people are super bullish and some people are super bearish, and it doesn't seem to be very clear. I mean, the fear and greed has got incredibly high in recent weeks. We did get up to 60, so that filled me with a lot of fear when we got up here. When the fear and greed index is high, I'm fearful, and when the fear and greed index is low, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. So let's see where the fear and greed index is now. Actually, let's see what we are on. Taking a look at this, we're currently sat at 48. Now I would say that's still pretty high. We're sat at neutral right now, just below greed. That's something we need to keep an eye on. Let's take a look now at the cryptocurrency news. Anyway, let's talk about this. This is what we're meant to be talking about. I just get distracted by Bitcoin. Taking a look at this, before we get on to today's news, please make sure to like today's video and subscribe and press that bell notification button to help us grow the channel as much as possible. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we will be doing these live streams every single weekday until we get there, and forever after as well. There will never be an end point for these live streams. We have so much to talk about, and cryptocurrency never has a dull day. There's always something interesting in the news. Let's take a look at this first article. We have LocalBitcoins is shutting down after operating for more than a decade. So this is a peer-to-peer Bitcoin trading service, and it's been operating for almost 11 years. Now, this is one of the first peer-to-peer Bitcoin trading platforms. and it's announced it will discontinue its service effective this month. And they cited the ongoing crypto winter as the main reason they will shut down the platform. And the team explained, "We are therefore sad to share that regardless of our efforts to overcome challenges during the ongoing very cold crypto winter, we have regretfully concluded that LocalBitcoins can no longer provide its Bitcoin trading service." They provided the following timeline for the gradual phasing out of services on the platform, so you can check that out over on Crypto Saving Expert if you are a user of LocalBitcoins. But you can see here it was founded back in June 2012, and the main goal was to provide a peer-to-peer platform where Bitcoin traders could trade with each other in a quick, easy, and safe manner. But the platform has, on a handful of occasions, made headlines as a gateway for criminals to launder their ill-gotten wealth. A 2022 report by CipherTrace stated that the LocalBitcoins was the number one choice platform for the illicit movement of Bitcoin. And the CipherTrace report concluded, Finnish exchanges ranked number one for the highest percentage of criminal Bitcoin received for the third year in a row, with 12.01% of Bitcoin funds received coming directly from criminal sources. LocalBitcoins, one of the largest peer-to-peer marketplaces, received over 99% of these criminal funds. So obviously this is sad to see it go, since it's been in the space for so long, and the creators of LocalBitcoins were obviously very early in their adoption for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, so it's sad to see them coming to an end in this, but I'm sure those that were in from the very start back in, what year did it say it was? 2012, have made a lot of money from the cryptocurrency industry. Let's take a look at the next article now and see what is happening over here. We have the US banking giant BNY Mellon says investors are absolutely interested in crypto. And we can see here the financial company I've just skipped loads of information here. What we see is clients are absolutely interested in digital assets broadly. We can see, according to a study, 97% of investors agree that tokenization will revolutionize asset management and be suitable for the industry, while 88% of corporate investors are comfortable with the virtual representation of cash. The survey also found that 86% of banks' clients are comfortable with the longer-term view of digital assets, known as the buy and hold strategy. So we are seeing adoption within the space. People still aren't scared to get involved in the industry. I know from my perspective, I have a lot of friends that were invested in cryptocurrency and interested in the space, watching daily live streams like our Crypto Saving Expert news show, trying to get involved in cryptocurrency as much as possible during 2021 and when the markets were moving upwards. And then they kind of dropped, their interest dropped as the markets dropped, as expected. If it's not something that you are fully engaged in and interested in, a lot of people's interest dropped over the bear market, but they are already starting to take a look at the industry again and try and get involved. So we are starting to see that bullish momentum that we like to see. A bull market comes with the bullish sentiment of investors, and when we're starting to see that, kind of shows that the bear market's coming to an end and the bull market's starting to come back again. And so that is what makes me feel very positive about the space. Let's take a look at the next article though. We are rushing through these first ones a little bit because we have a lot to talk about later in today's stream about Kraken. But first we have Tether reports $700 million in Q4 2022 profits, further boosting its reserves. Now that is a huge amount of money, especially from the state that the markets was in Q4 and the drop that we saw. But they have said they have added to their reserves for the stablecoin USDT. And they ended 2022 with zero commercial paper and at least $67 billion in consolidated total assets and excess reserves of at least $960 million. So Tether is a stablecoin that has been around for a very, very long time, but there has always been speculation about how it was backed. And there was fear that if there was a bank run and a lot of people tried to redeem their USDT tokens for USD, they wouldn't be able to support those, and they didn't have the liquid assets to support that. Previously, they've tried to create audits and prove that they have the funds behind them, but a lot of their balance sheet was on commercial paper. And this caused a huge amount of FUD, but as you can see here, they've entered 2022 with zero commercial paper. So they are trying to be more transparent, and they are trying to show us that they are a trustworthy stablecoin. This has been a debate for years within the cryptocurrency industry. We just don't have enough transparency in the space yet. People come into cryptocurrency and blockchain technology because of the transparency of the blockchain, but then we trust certain centralized exchanges like FTX we've seen, and we kind of lose that transparency that transparency that we've come into the space for. So now we are looking at Merkle trees, proof of reserves, and different cryptocurrency companies are trying to be as transparent as possible because it's shown us in recent months that we do need that transparency. The stablecoin company also shared its most recent report completed independently by BDO, a top 5 ranked public accounting firm, and the report highlighted Tether's commitment to reducing its secured loans, which have dropped by $300 million. In addition, its assets allocated to US Treasury bills have risen to 58% of the total, or $39.23 billion, further indicating Tether's growth of using Treasury bills to strengthen their balance sheet and increase confidence in USDT. But the company have said Tether's reserves remain extremely liquid with the majority of its investments being held in cash equivalents, and other short-term deposits. We've covered all of this so far already. That is what we are looking at for Tether. Let's move on to the next article. I've already explained that they've been under scrutiny for a couple of years now, but they are trying to be as transparent as possible. We have the Aave native stablecoin was deployed today on the Ethereum testnet. So Ethereum is the mainnet, and then we have testnet. I mean, they've all changed since we had the Ethereum merge, and then since I was really doing any blockchain development. But they're just basically a blockchain that acts like the Ethereum blockchain. They have tokens that act like Ether, but the tokens are free, so you can test if your projects run smoothly and that before you deploy them on the actual mainnet and pay actual gas fees when you're testing your application or your platform or anything like the projects we have here. So as different DeFi protocols begin to release their own protocol native stablecoins, GHO is the coin launched by one of the largest decentralized financial applications, Aave. Aave Companies, one of the firms responsible for the development of Aave, announced their launch of GHO on the Ethereum I don't think I'll be able to say that one. Goerli testnet earlier today. I've probably got that wrong. Stablecoins have emerged as a dominant force in the market over the past 2 years, with a market valuation of almost $136 billion at the time of writing. According to DeFi Llama data, stablecoins are the quickest, most effective, and most reliable means of transferring value on the blockchain. As crypto assets gain adoption with a user base that is less crypto native, the use of stablecoins will only increase. On the blockchain, censorship-resistant fiat currency is offered through decentralized stablecoins. Decentralized stablecoins like GHO aim to be a step further from traditional stablecoins and offer transparency and censorship resistance as advantages. So we just are seeing different adoption for Ethereum. We don't need to worry about this one too much. Let's go on to the next article. Things are about to get interesting. We're going to talk about Kraken, and this, I believe, is one of the reasons we have seen Bitcoin dump over the last couple of days. I wouldn't say it's the sole reason. I would say that we were due a pullback for a bit of time now. Greed was getting too high, supports were beginning to break, and then this news came out, and that was enough to send us down. Before we do get into the next article, please don't forget to like today's stream and subscribe and press the bell notification button before we start today's next article. Let's take a look at this. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we will continue to do these daily live streams until we get there. The US SEC is probing Kraken for allegedly offering unregistered securities. Crypto exchange Kraken is reportedly being investigated by the US SEC for possible security law violations. As we've spoken about in the channel multiple times, the difference between cryptocurrencies being a commodity or a security, it has a huge effect on the industry. Now, some will fall into one category and some will fall into another. We've seen XRP battle their lawsuit because they were being labeled as a security. If a cryptocurrency is a security, they need to be regulated by the SEC, and they have pretty tight regulations. The opposite is if we have commodities. Commodities are regulated much more lightly, and so many cryptocurrencies want to fall in that category of commodities, but when the SEC decide that they've stepped over the line and they're now a security, it means they need to complete all these regulations, and it means companies like Kraken is a cryptocurrency exchange, they can't offer unregistered securities as a platform. So now all of the cryptocurrency centralized exchanges are getting in trouble as well. So let's take a look at this. According to Bloomberg report, the SEC is looking into whether Kraken offered unregistered securities to users in the United States. The probe is allegedly in its final stages, and a settlement between Kraken and the SEC could be announced in the near future. We also have an article, not here. Here, they've agreed to shut down staking. Right, let's check we've got these all in the right order. So next we talk about staking of cryptocurrencies on Kraken. Kraken has covered the news a lot in the last 24 hours. We'll see what happens here. This isn't the first time the SEC has done this. We'll see what unravels in the next couple of weeks. But we have here next, Kraken agrees to shut down staking services in $30 million settlement with the US SEC. Leading cryptocurrency exchanges, Kraken has agreed to shut down its staking services to resolve allegations and finalize a settlement deal with the SEC. Their crypto staking services offer customers various options, including a crypto lending product that promises up to 24% yield. The exchange also provides a 20% annual APY on its staking service with a promise to send staking payments to customers twice a week. But according to the SEC, Kraken reached an agreement with the agency to discontinue its staking operations for US customers. The exchange will also pay the regulator $30 million for offering unregistered securities to American investors. Now let's take a look at this. Recall that sources disclosed Wednesday that the SEC was probing Kraken for allegedly offering unregistered securities. We've just covered this. And we reported that the probe was in its final stages and both parties were most likely to reach a settlement deal. So while the outcome of Kraken's case with the SEC is another win for the securities watchdog, it's a significant loss for the US cryptocurrency market. And this, I believe, is why we've started to see that move to the downside. The settlement will mean a total shutdown of the staking service, and according to Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, such a move would be a terrible path for the US. We heard a rumor yesterday from the Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong that there is a possibility that the US will ban staking cryptocurrencies completely. So that is something to be aware of. A lot of frauders coming back into the news right now in cryptocurrency. We are starting to see that move to the downside. As I said, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity and buying the dip while we can. A lot of people regretted not buying the previous dip down here. I managed to scoop up some nice bags down here, and then I managed to take some nice profits. So whenever I see a dip, I do like to dollar cost average in, and when I see a move to the upside, I do like to dollar cost average out. And I'm not scared to dollar cost average out on the way up either. Obviously, nothing is financial advice, but that is just how I'm treating the markets right now. I do think we could come down a little bit further, but we'll go back into Bitcoin's chart analysis at the end of today's stream. Let's take a look at the next article here. So far, we've got to the news article that Kraken has agreed to give the SEC $30 million for settlement. We are now seeing the commissioner with the SEC's decision to end staking on Kraken. So the SEC commissioner has issued a public statement rebuking the regulatory agency on its recent decision to end crypto staking on Kraken. They said, today the SEC shut down Kraken's staking platform and counted it as a win for investors. I disagree and therefore dissent. Whether one agrees with that analysis or not, the more fundamental question... Let's read this bit first. They question the SEC's verdict that Kraken failed to register its staking services with the regulatory body. According to our analysis, the registration might not have been possible, given that not many crypto-related offerings make it through the SEC's registration process. Whether one agrees with this analysis or not, the more fundamental question is whether SEC registration would have been possible. In the current climate, crypto-related offerings are not making it through the SEC's registration pipeline. Moreover, staking services are not uniform, so one-off enforcement actions and cookie-cutter analysis does not cut it. She stated that staking services in general raise a long list of complicated questions, such as whether an individual staking service such as Kraken's needs to be registered with the SEC, or if each token staking program should be regulated separately. The commissioner faulted the SEC for not providing guidance on crypto staking despite knowing about its existence for a long time. Now, this is something that is over and over again a problem in cryptocurrency. We don't have clear regulation on how different products should be regulated in the correct way. The lines are all so blurry, and then the SEC can just decide when they want to point the finger. And the lines are blurry, that you can get biased involved in these regulations when you're trying to work out if you should or shouldn't be regulated or enforced registered in a certain way. So it is still very complicated. We need clear guidelines that we can stick to. We do need to see some regulation in the space so that we can understand where we stand. We need that regulation to still enable the cryptocurrency company to continue to grow. We don't want it to stifle growth. So we need to all work together to decide how the industry can move forward in a way that both the SEC and the US government and all the other governments around the world and the cryptocurrency community is happy with. Obviously, there are going to be some things that both parties will need to give some leeway with, but we need to find a solution to this problem, because if not, we're just going to continue going around in circles where the SEC just starts pointing fingers at everyone. They pay loads of money, and then a year later, the same thing rolls around again. Let's take a look at the final article about Kraken though. We have Kraken to continue offering staking services to non-US clients. Obviously, this is just an issue with the SEC in the US. They said they're going to continue outside of the US. We are seeing here that their Ethereum assets are going to be unstaked after the Shanghai update. And we have, let's see if there's anything down here. I hope somebody proves in court that staking is legal, said Jesse Powell. So we are seeing some people stand up for us. This is Kraken's co-founder and former CEO explained in a tweet that the decision to settle was based on risk-adjusted return. And he said, I honestly hope that somebody proves in court that there is a legal, user-friendly version of custodial staking that can be offered to US consumers. It'll be brutal, lengthy, expensive fight and a massive distraction, but the industry and the USA will be extremely grateful. So that's what we're looking at with Kraken right now, and that is why we've seen a lot about Kraken in the news. We've seen a lot of FUD, but hopefully this starts to calm down in the next couple of days. We now have a piece of analysis from one of the analysts at Crypto Saving Expert. Definitely worth a read. If you want to go over to cryptosavingexpert.com, make sure to go to the website and you'll be met with this lovely homepage, and you can see here we have the latest cryptocurrency news and as trustworthy cryptocurrency news as well. Once we've gone through this website, we will go back to do some Bitcoin chart analysis before we close off today's stream. But if you want to get the latest cryptocurrency news, guides, free cryptocurrency courses where you can learn everything about crypto, and there's some course videos presented by me as well if you want to hear more from me, and we have some market data as well, and the website is just going to continue to grow. If you do go over to the site, I do ask you please to sign up using this big blue button over here, just so we can gauge how many users are on the site. And once you sign up, you do get access to those courses as well. Those courses are behind that sign up wall, but it is completely free to sign up. It does not cost you anything to do anything on the site right now. So definitely please check that out. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart and see what's happening over here. You can see on the 4-hour chart, we were in this level of supports and resistances. We were trading between the $22,540 level to the $23,900 level since back on the 20th of January. Now we have fallen down below that. We have broken to the downside. If we go to the half-hour chart, we can see here that we are now within a new range. We have a level of support on the half-hour chart, obviously half-hour chart, so this is a little less predictable. I like to trade the 4-hour charts really. The smaller the time frames you go, the less the probabilities stand. I believe that if you're looking at the bigger time frames, I can trust them a lot more. But on the half-hour chart, we do nevertheless have a level of support down at $21,750, and we have a level of resistance up at $21,900. So I'm waiting to see in which direction we see a candle close above the level of resistance or below the level of support. That is what we are looking for right now. It would be interesting to see. I personally think there is a high probability that that breakout will be to the downside. We also have that CME gap down at $20,000, but we have a new CME gap opening today, and I would like to discuss that. The CME gap opens every single Friday evening at 10 p.m. UTC and opens again on the Monday morning. That leaves a gap in the market. Most of the time, there's a high probability that if there is a huge move over the weekend, that CME gap will be closed very quickly on the Monday over Tuesday. Now, this doesn't 100% happen every single time. It's just something that has a high probability of success. A lot of people actually choose to trade these moves. So they look for the CME gap and then enter either a long position or a short position, depending on which way the market's moved over the weekend. So I would be very interested to see if we do see a move to the downside over the weekend. It, in my opinion, will look like a very big opportunity for my personal portfolio to buy the dip. And that is kind of what I'm hoping for. If we do see a big move to the downside and we create this big CME gap above us over the weekend, it could be a very exciting week for next week in cryptocurrency. But the majority of the time we do just see sideways action over the weekends. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. We will be back on Monday morning doing another cryptocurrency news update, talking about what's happened over the weekend and talking about what we expect next week as well. So don't miss our daily live streams. Make sure to like, subscribe, and press that bell notification button so that you don't miss them. And follow us over on Twitter as well at CryptoSavingExp, and you will see that we tweet just before we go live to make sure you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news show. But that is all. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you all on Monday.